Live.
Cool. This is going to be so much fun, guys. Welcome to another installment of Become a Marketing Superhero. Woo! We are going to talk market today. So we are on this phenomenal journey together. Let me see if I can share my thing here again. Boom, 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 boom. This is the journey that we are on. It is 4 parts. We're talking about brand, which is all about you, who you are. Then we talk about market. That's who your customers are. Then we talk about offer. That's what you're selling. And that's the thing that sort of bridges the two, that connects the two, right? So we are, the offer is what's coming from you to the market, to your customer, and connects the dots. And then once we're clear on what all of that looks like, we are going to put it all together into a customer value journey. So that's what we're doing. And today we did the last 2 weeks, we've done brand, who are you? And today we are going to talk about market. Who are they? Who's excited to talk about market? I can't hear any of you, so I'm just going to assume that is everybody. Cool. So market, let's talk about your ideal customer, right? So there's a lot of people, I've seen a lot of trainings about like ideal customer, and then it's like, what magazines do they read? What TV shows do they read? Like gender and age and where they live and all that kind of boring shit. That it's always been like this weird exercise for me. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what magazines, and who reads magazines ever anymore, right? Nobody reads fucking magazines anymore. Like it's always seemed like a weird exercise to me with a bunch of information that I basically don't have. Hey, Jesper, a bunch of like wanting a bunch of information that I don't have. So I'm just sitting there guessing at stuff, which doesn't seem very helpful. So here's my approach instead, which is this. It is, think of a real person that you know. Think of someone that you already know, an actual live human being that you either are working with or you would like to work with, right? Think of that person. Maybe you think of a couple. And then you can talk to them, right? You can actually talk to them and ask them about stuff. And what you want to know is, what is their desire for change, right? That's the number one thing, is like, what is it that's prompting them to change? What is it that's making them want to do something different, right? Because that's where we come in, right? People buy stuff when they want something to do something different. They buy a coffee when they want to feel jacked up in the morning or something. Is that the term? I'm not sure. But they always buy your stuff because they want some sort of change, right? Some sort of state of change. And remember last time we talked about your hero's journey. So basically a lot of the times that's going to be this call to adventure for your avatar, right? If it's coaching or teaching or that kind of thing, there's going to be some sort of call to adventure that is probably related to their desire for change. If we're talking about a coffee, that might be overkill. So that's the number one thing. Like, what is the desire for change? What is the change that they seek? Why now? Right. Then the other thing that we want to dive into is beliefs and worldview. We talked about that when we talked about your brand. Like, what are the things that you stand for, right? Your values. What do you stand against? Who are your enemies? If you were to write a manifesto, what would it sound like, right? So really the way the world works now is people clump together around worldviews, around beliefs, right? Around what they believe. Seth Godin has a phrase which he says, people like us do things like this. So who are the people like us? What do they believe? And what are the things that they do, right? So example, buying coffee from Starbucks versus, I just saw recently there is a, what is it? What is it called? There's like there's a new coffee chain. Um, it's something, you know, rifle something or ammo something. Is like gun related, right? So it's like, you know, rifle coffee, ammo coffee, something like that. Because Starbucks has gone woke, right? Starbucks is like on the whole wokeness train, and so that opens up a market for for people who believe something different, right? So that's really what separates people these days. That's what organizes tribes, is belief systems, worldviews, not, you know, specific demographics. So forget about demographics and think about worldviews, right? Another thing that you want to find out is here, what would they type into Google, right? As they're looking for you and what you can do for them, um, what would they search for? What are the words that they would search for? Because that is, I mean, that's great to know, obviously, right? Like you use that to create content that's going to target that person. You use that you can buy ads on it, all that kind of stuff, right? And then finally, we also want to know, where do they hang out, right? What, to the extent that we can, what Facebook groups are they part of, or what podcasts do they listen to, or what, you know, YouTube shows or TV, like where do they gather? Where do people with this kind of belief system, with these values, where do they gather, so that we know where to reach them, right? We know which podcasts to be on, or which YouTube channels to advertise on, et cetera, et cetera. So we can look at demographics, age, gender, geography, job title, things like that. Again, it's a lot less relevant these days than it has been. So focus a lot more on world view. Okay. Great. If you guys have questions, feel free to like throw them in there. I believe there's a place to ask to jump, you know, type in questions and stuff. I don't know where to see any of the questions, so someone's going to read them to me if there are questions, I'm hoping. All right, cool. Another thing when we're looking at market is market maturity, right? How mature is the market that you're getting into? It's pretty important because when markets are very mature, you need to talk differently to people. You need to market differently than when it's very fresh and new. And most markets these days are going to be pretty mature. And so there's a progression here that says, you know, if you're the first to market with a certain thing, then you can just tell like what the promise is. What does the thing do for you? Boom. Okay, done, right? Once that promise becomes common, everybody's like, yeah, we'll like help you lose weight, right? Okay, then you need to, well, we'll help you lose more weight faster. You got to expand on the promise. Then that gets to a point where it's ridiculous, right? Like, we'll help you lose 100 pounds in 10 seconds. Okay, great. Then that's when we get into promoting a unique mechanism. Well, we're going to do it using keto, right? Well, then everybody does keto. And then you have like, oh, no. But we're not just doing keto. We're doing these like specific forms of ketones that you digest, that you drink, right? Oh, okay. And then you get to a point where that's common. And then it becomes all about the experience. I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be in the experience category, where what you're selling is about the experience. So again, back to worldview, you're selling something that's like speaks to a certain group of people in a specific way. And we'll get more into that about how to do that when we talk about offer, how to construct an experience around that customer that you're trying to get to, that's going to really appeal to them. There's some specific ways that we can go about doing that. All right, I'm drinking these mung berries that my wife gave me. It's supposed to be like anti-inflammatory and really good for you. It tastes kind of meh. Okay, it tastes kind of bland. But she insisted on giving me a cup. my glass before we got here. All right, next up, we're going to talk about awareness level. So this is awareness of the people in the market. And so there's going to be a range of people in these different buckets of awareness. And these numbers, 3%, 17, 20, 60%, I got from a book called Sell Like Crazy. And I like took some artistic liberty with some of the levels. I split something up, but basically you have people that are ready to buy now, right? Yeah, I just want to get this thing. I'm ready to buy now. I know exactly what I want to get. I'm ready to hit the buy button, right? Those are they're relatively very few of them, right? Only 3% are in that group. Only 3% are ready to buy now. Then at the very bottom, we have people who are basically unaware, right? They may have a problem with the weight or fitness or like something. It's like they're not even aware of it. They're not even thinking about it. They don't even realize they should be aware, concerned with this thing. That they have you and I know they have a problem, but they don't realize it, right? That's the vast majority of people. So then you have up from that, you have the problem aware group. So these are people that know they have a problem, but they haven't really done any research. They don't know what solutions might be out there. They don't know what they can do about it. They just know what they just know that there's a problem. So that's going to be about 20%. And then there are people who are solution aware. So they're aware that there are solutions. They may not be aware of your specific product. That's product aware are the people who are aware of your specific product, right? So that's another group. Some are aware that there are generally solutions in your category. Others are going to be aware of your specific product. And so you need to talk to these different people differently, right? So someone who's unaware, well, you need to tell them like, hey, this is a problem, right? Like it's not going to go away by itself. It's going to get worse. Like, you need to point out the problem for them. Like, dude, you have a problem and here are the consequences if you don't fix that, right? Problem aware, you need to educate them on like the severity of the problem, get them to take it seriously, and then educate them on what are the possible solutions, with obviously yours being the best one, right? Solution aware, you have to educate them on how to choose the right solution and educate them on yours and why it's better. And then move them up this ladder. And then eventually, like when they're ready to buy, they'll buy from you, right? So the trick is that if you just try to get at the people who are ready to hit buy right now, then you're limiting yourself to a very small group of the market. Whereas if you can talk to people who are in these other categories here and help them along the way and educate them on why they need a product like yours, well then, by the time they get to be ready to buy, chances are they're going to buy from you, right? So that is that expands your market dramatically. All right, is this stuff resonating with you guys? Questions? What do you guys think? All right. Sweet. Stephanie says, this is amazing to have put into perspective. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Here's an exercise to start to look at the avatar. I like this one. I actually learned this one from Dan Kushel, who's doing the I forget what it's called, his program. But he calls it Beyond the Avatar. I've seen similar models other places. I forget what they call it, but the idea is that instead of these typical, what do they read? What do they, blah, 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 all that stuff, you ask yourself, and you can do this, you can interview them as well, right? But you ask the questions, what do they see? What do they hear? What do they feel? And what do they think? right? So what do they see? What's out there? What's in front of them? Like that, what's literally in front of their eyes? Like other websites, other programs, other people, their colleagues, their family, their work situation. What are they seeing, right? What are they hearing? That can be from outside. Um, so what are people telling them, as well as what's happening? What are the sort of the voices in their own heads, kind of thing that they're hearing? Um, what are they feeling? All right. What's that feeling layer inside of them? And what are they thinking? Oh, like if I do this, you know. So um asking, it's a good frame to look at, like what are these elements for your audience. And the way that I like to do this, honestly, is just again tune into a specific person that I know, and then just like, or tune into myself 15 years ago, as like if I'm using that as the avatar, and be like, huh, what was my reality, right? What was I seeing? What was I hearing? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Or what do I imagine this person seeing, hearing, feeling, and thinking? You can get a lot, very far with that. Again, you can also do interviews. You can actually do real interviews with people and get their input on it. But I find that you can get a lot of super valuable insights from that exercise. You need to get either interview people or do it like after you've immersed yourself in your audience, right? Like when you really know the people sort of at an intuitive level, then you can do this. You don't want to just like throw random stuff out there. That you want to have it sort of substantiated. But I'm an intuitive person, so I like to approach this kind of stuff intuitively. All right. So that's an exercise. You just sit down and you can just like, I like to speak out loud and then record it and then transcribe it, or you can write it down. Again, you can interview people and ask them. It's very helpful. All right. The next exercise I have for you is, call it the hut buttons. So these are, as you can see, it's like 2 dimensions here. So we've got away from on the left, and we have toward on the right. We have immediate at the top and imagined at the bottom. So top left corner here, we have pains. These are like immediate pains, right? That people want to avoid the pain, right? And over on the right, we have wants and needs. Again, so these are immediate. I want, I need right now. This is where I want to move toward, right? Bottom left, we have fears. So fears are projecting thoughts like imagined in the future. Something might happen and I don't want it, right? And dreams or aspirations are things that are in the future that I would like. Wait, oh shit. You guys cannot see the screen because I moved it over on the other monitor. I keep doing that because otherwise
I can still see
it.
it.
You can see it now. All right, cool. All right, here we go. So are you guys seeing this now? Fears and dreams, immediate, imagine, toward, away. So again, you want to find out this information about your avatar, right? What are their pains? What are their fears? What are their wants and needs? What are their dreams? Very helpful stuff to know about your avatar. And keep going from that. Tony Robbins has a framework that he calls the 6 basic human needs. So that he's like, every single human being has these 6 needs in different levels. I forgot what he calls it, but the first 4 are sort of foundational, and then the other ones are sort of higher level. I'm gonna remove this again. So basically, we all want certainty, We all have a certain, you know, a certain need for certainty at some level. But then we also want variety or uncertainty. We need to feel significant in some way to some people somewhere. We need to feel love and connection. And then beyond that, the two sort of higher levels are growth, feeling of growth that we're growing, and a feeling of a need for contribution, for knowing that we're contributing to other people. Super helpful framework. So in business, very often what we're going to sell people is certainty, significance, and love and connection. So these three are sort of generally the biggest needs in business that we're selling to, but you can sell to all of them. So a question to ask yourself is, for my audience, what are their top two human needs that I can sell to, right? Is it significance? Is it growth? Is it contribution? Is it, certainty? What is it? Is it a variety, adventures, right? What are the like one or two top needs in my for my avatar, for my audience, that I can sell to? Right. It's another really helpful way to thing to ask yourself about. And then moving on from there, this is a list of like desires. So this is just for inspiration of like, what are things that they might desire, your audience, right? Adventure, affection, avoiding new things, belonging, community, right? Could be something, control, creativity, delight, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, friendship, good looks, health, learning new things, right? Up here we had avoiding new things, right? So some people like it, some people hate it. Luxury, nostalgia, obedience, participation, peace of mind is something that came out just earlier today. Physical activity, power, reassurance, reliability, respect, revenge, romance, safety, security, sex, strength, sympathy, tension. And I'm sure you can come up with other things, but this is a good sort of list to walk through. Like, what are the things that my audience really wants, right? What are the things what are their desires? Ask yourself that, ask your audience that. And then finally, last thing of the day, this is very simple. It's just like, what does an average day in your customer's life look like, right? That, and like, just write it down. They get up, they walk the dog, they exercise, they don't exercise, they get coffee, they don't get coffee, they get breakfast, they don't get breakfast, they stress out to get out of the house, or they have a leisurely morning. I lived in India for a year, and I did yoga every morning at 4 a.m. And there were people who would get up and out of bed. We got up at like 3:30, right? Just like quick shower, jump on the motorcycle down to the shala, sit and wait outside till they would let us in. But there were people who would get up like an hour before and sit and read the newspaper, I guess from the day before or something, and drink a cup of coffee and like sit there, because like, even though they were getting up at 3 a.m., they still had that need for a cup of coffee. I don't get it, but hey, you do you. So, what does an average day in your avatar's life look like? So that's basically my approach to defining your avatar. The trick here is all in getting under the hood of people, right? Where we want to get to is like, what's really going on in their mind at an unconscious level, or like just below the level of consciousness. We want to be able to express their thoughts better than they could express them themselves, right? An example I heard years ago that I love is someone who was like a brilliant marketer who was teaching Spanish, right? And he was not just teaching Spanish, he was teaching Spanish to young guys who wanted to get laid, to travel in Latin America and get laid. right? That was basically his market, right? So he wanted to teach them Spanish so that they could travel and hook up with cute Latina girls in South America. I mean, talk about knowing your audience, right? But that, like, realizing that that's why these guys wanted to learn Spanish, and that was what he was selling to. You don't have to be super overt about it, but you can be, right? It's really helpful to know that. There's another guy that told me the story of how he was teaching golf. He's teaching golf, and the secret desire there for people was that they wanted, his audience wanted to get better at golf so they could beat their boss, right? They had a boss, they were playing golf with their boss, and they just wanted the pleasure of beating their boss on the golf course. So those kinds of things are super helpful to know, so that you can target people, so that you can, like, speak to them where they are, right? So they feel met, they feel heard, they feel understood. They are like, oh, yes, he's talking to me. And the cool thing is, even someone who wants to learn Spanish for another reason might still buy the thing, right? Because he's like, well, that's not my desire, but I get what that means for the level of sort of fluency. I'm able to have a conversation. I'm able to meet new people. Maybe I just want to travel and network. I'm not interested in getting laid, but I just want to, like, have a good time and adventure and meet new friends and stuff. And so I'll still buy your Spanish course, right? Because you articulated very well. You painted a picture for me of what it will do for me. So yeah, that's all I got, folks. If you have questions, I'm happy to take your questions. If you don't have questions, let's just call it a day and get out of here. We can spend the time doing something like implementing this stuff. So let me know.
We've got a couple of questions. Jordy hasn't responded about coming on, but I'm going to go ahead and assume he's okay with that. So I'm going to get him ready. His question is about the levels of awareness you mentioned before, and he wants to know if in your message you're supposed to talk to all of those levels.
Oh, right. Hey, Jordy, my man, new shirt.
Yes, I try to keep up now. Try to keep you happy. Try to keep the master happy.
Trying to keep me happy is fucking hard work. Just talk to my family.
Yeah, I'm sure if I got myself happy, then we're both good.
Yeah, no, my happiness is my responsibility. What can I do for you?
So you were talking about, like, the different level of awareness, the 5 levels, and I'm with all the conversations we had, I'm pretty clear on what I'm going to do and what I'm going to put out. So I'm gonna put out the sales pages, but then just also to ask a question, try to take advantage of the time. It's like, how long would you think that would be? Would you talk to all these different levels in your sales page, or, you know?
Like, I mean, someone who's unaware is not going to be reading your sales page, right? No, it's more like your sales page is probably more geared towards people who are ready to buy now, right? But it's your other content, your other messaging, like your blog, your site content, some of the other content that you put out, that's going to move people along that journey, right? The idea is, if you catch them early enough, you can sort of mold their journey and make sure that when they're ready to buy, they buy from you. For you, I wouldn't worry about this stuff right now at all, right? Just get your first clients, get this thing moving with people who are ready to buy now. And then once you have some traction there, you can go back and say, all right, so what are where are people at when they become problem aware, right? And like, what do they start searching for? What are the questions that they have? How can I speak to them there? And then start to move them along that journey.
Right. So keep it short, focus on the people you want. Like with disruptors, like posts, you can also, like, get people out of that unaware state and trying to get them on that first step of that journey. But you say, like, focus just on what's in front of you and people who want.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, like, on your website, right? Obviously, if you have a sales page, I would say that's geared towards people who want to buy now. And those are the only ones that you're really going to share the link with. But on your website, you can definitely have an opt-in for like, hey, are you curious? Like for basically for people who are at least problem aware, right? That they can opt in. You can send them emails every week and stay in the loop, and you can educate them there to drive them towards being ready to buy.
Right. Okay, clear.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Jordy.
All right. So next is a question from Stephanie. She's asking, she's saying that people have trouble describing how they feel when they're working through her program, and she wants to chat with you about specific thought-provoking questions to ask. I'm going to get her on for more details.
All right, cool. Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey, Stephanie. Good to see you.
You too. So I love to work with people who are quick to help and rescue others, yet deny that help very quickly for themselves. Mm-hmm. And something I'm struggling with is when people do go through that transformative process, they don't necessarily know how to describe it themselves. So when I ask for reviews or feedback, they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are some thought-provoking questions? Go ahead.
So you have to guide them on that. Like, I mean, there's one type of question that you could use is like, if you knew, what would it be, right? If you did know, what might it be? Because they do, right? They're just, their mind stops them from saying it. It's also, you might have a hunch what it is, and so you can kind of put words in their mouth. Is it like this? And then they might go, yeah, exactly. Or they're like, not quite. It's more like blah, and then you get it out, right? One of my favorites is really funny. Like, we humans are like, so scared of being specific with things, right? Like, so in this building, we have an amenity floor. On the 9th floor, there's a swimming pool, there's a sauna, there's all this. Like, the sauna was out of commission for a while. And so I talked to the receptionist down there. I was like, hey, so do you know when the sauna is going to be, back in order? And she's like, no, I really don't. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, yeah, I'm like, do you think I need to use a bathroom? Do you think it's going to be in the next 3 minutes? Cause then like, she's like, no. Like, oh, okay. Like, do you think it's going to be like within the next 5 years, maybe? Like, should I renew my lease? Like, no. It's more like 5-6 weeks. Ah, right. So you knew, right? I mean, I didn't say that, right? Like, but it's like, people just tend to like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, but they do know. I mean, they don't know exactly, but they kind of know. And so, yeah, you have to like tease it out of them. But so that one always works. If it's like numbers or something that is dimensional, right? I go like, oh, is it like 30 seconds or is it like, a decade, right? And then people are gonna like be like, no, it's kind of like around 5-6 weeks. Okay, great. Yeah. What else can we do? I don't know. I think like, yeah, you can. Another thing I think you can do is like walk them through like walk me through a timeline. Like, what do you do? And then like
timeline of the process, like my specific coaching process. If I bring them back to the beginning and help them look at the transformation,
right?
To be able to pick it out.
What were you thinking there? Like in the moment that you bought the thing, what was going on in your mind, right? Like, like when you read the first thing, like what was remember what it was like? What was what were you really feeling like? And then like, yeah, maybe have them breathe, like help them get out of their heads, right?
Yeah.
Because the head is the one that goes like, I don't know, but like you need to get it from somewhere else, right? All right, it's fine. Like, take a deep breath. Like what? Like, try to tune in. Like, what was really going on for you in that moment? Try to put yourself back in that place and like feel it as if you were there today, kind of thing, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
I do have a kind of unrelated question about surveys and the Simplero. Is there a way for me to set up surveys to automatically send to people each week?
Talk to our support team.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
All right. So the next question is from Akua, and I'm going to bring her on, but she wants to hear you, Calvin, talk through what your ideal client desires. She knows about your website and your hook there, but she wants to know what you would do and what your hook would be if you were introducing yourself to a new client.
Wait. Putting me on the spot?
A little bit. I'm curious because I think the biggest issue, right, that coaches have, right? And I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, you would consider yourself a life coach, right? Life?
No.
No, what would you consider yourself? Spiritual coach?
So the tagline that I use, or the what I put is software engineer, serial entrepreneur, and spiritual teacher.
Okay, right.
Because I like the juxtaposition of stuff. So yeah. So what's your question?
So the question was more about so you talked about desire. So I was just curious, if you were to sort of talk to a potential client, what would your hook be verbally?
I have no idea.
What would be the desires that you'd mention?
For my clients, I think the honest answer is I don't freaking know. Because it's, that part is not really a focus for me. I think if you look at something like Simplero, I think belonging and community is up there. That would be my guess. So I'm doing this training now, and then kind of going back and doing all this stuff for Simplero, right? And for my personal brand. But I have not done that yet.
Okay.
But I think, belonging, community, control, creativity would be up there. But it's like you just, you pick what you think, and then you check with people, hey, how important is romance to you as a customer of Simplero? Yeah. It's like, very important, but I don't look to Simplero for romance. Okay, let's not do that then.
Yeah.
So what do you think your audience's desires are?
I guess, I could have mentioned that before, this idea of peace of mind, balance, which,
exactly,
I mentioned before, those don't really necessarily resonate with me. But for me, what really resonates, and the reason why I use this word multi-hyphenate, or multi-hyphenated, is the fact that a lot of times we feel like we have to define ourselves by one thing. So a lot of people, when they see my background, because I've done so many different things, they really identify with that. So this idea of belonging, I would say, is a desire. This idea of being multi-passionate, and that it's okay to be multi-passionate. We don't have to choose one. We can be
acceptance, right?
Acceptance, yes, that might be the best way to put it. Acceptance might be one of the desired. Yeah.
It's funny because when I was thinking for Simplero, what my guess is that our audience wants, the three words that came up, I guess it's technically 5, but prosperity, purpose, and peace of mind. How does that resonate with you?
Definitely resonates with me. Definitely. Yeah. Because it works, right? And it has everything in it, and I can make money with it for sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the thing that we hear from people is they come to us because they were using 5-6 different tools. They went on vacation and shit broke and it ruined their vacation. Right. So is that hey, it's all integrated. It's not going to break while you're on vacation. Even if it did for whatever obscure reason, we have our team there. We can fix things because it's all integrated, right? Whereas if you're using 5 different tools, your SOL, what broke, you don't know, right? Your web guy is on vacation, whatever. So, yeah.
Sure, that's helpful. And maybe, it's time for me to start using something like acceptance in my marketing and messaging. Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe that's not the word, but that theme definitely, right? You're not wrong for being this way, right? Because I think a lot of us is well, just focus, and can you just do one thing and just pick a thing and stick to it and la 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 la, right? And it's no. No. Are you familiar with Scott Adams by any chance?
Scott Adams? No. Why should I know him?
So he created the Dilbert cartoon, and he wrote a book called How to Fail at Everything and Still Succeed, or something to that effect. And one of the things that he talks about is the skill stack. I think it's a phenomenal concept. So the idea is like, that the way like if you have one skill, then there's like, millions of other people with that skill, right? But if you have 2 or 3, or you put together like 5 different skills or something to that effect, then you can be like literally the only person in the world, or the best person in the world, to have that specific combination of skills. And it's by combining different skills that you really become really, really valuable to people. So it's similar, right? And figure out what those skills are and how to combine them in a way that makes it super powerful.
Sure, yeah, I'll have to look that up. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Thanks, Akua.
Okay, our next question is from Sue. She is in the waiting room, so she might be a little thrown off when I let her in, but we're going to go with it. She is having trouble because the solution to her audience's pain point is not an obvious one, and she wants to chat about that. So just give me one sec.
Let's hear it.
She is joining. Chat about that. So just give me one sec.
What's up, Sue?
She is joining.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
What's up, Sue?
I really like the pyramid that you've got there. And in the case of,
what's up, Sue?
I really like.
There's a lot of echo from somewhere here.
In the case of, I really like.
Sue, do you have YouTube open?
Yeah, let me turn it off. How do I do that?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
a good idea.
Now can you hear me?
That was a lot better. Yeah.
I'm not very good at technology here. So with this wonderful pyramid that you've got, and you've got the buy at the top, and you've got the not aware at the bottom. In the case of me, I offer baby massage training to new moms. And so they're very, very aware that the baby is not sleeping through the night, or the baby's got colic, and their pain points are those. But the solutions are not obvious. The solutions are not.
So they're right. So let me just share it again here, and we can So they are problem aware, but not solution aware, right?
Yeah. So how do you take them? Do you write blogs? How do you were saying you take them up that
right.
pyramid.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, all of the above, right? So you can talk about, you can do Facebook ads, you can do blog posts, you can do videos, you can do like free social media content, organic content, email newsletters, but you got to get people on them, obviously, right? But you could do content that you do for other people that have lists of newborn mothers, where you talk about, so you start by saying, hey, do you also have problem with your child not sleeping, or, not eating, whatever the symptoms are, right? And so, and then you aggravate it a bit. You're like, do you realize that, it's probably not going to go away on its own, and you're only going to get more stressed, and that stresses out the baby even more, and then they get sleep even worse, and then it just becomes this vicious cycle, and la la la. But thankfully, there are easy things that you can do, and one of those things that are absolutely most effective that almost nobody knows about or thinks of is, and then you talk about
baby massage.
Exactly, right.
Nice.
So, and then you tell them about like why that works and why that's important, and why it doesn't have any of the drawbacks that other things might have, and all the things that make you excited about it. Yeah, right. Educate them on that. And then like if you want to learn more, here's a thing, like here's like 3 easy things that you can do. And obviously, if you want to go deeper, I'd love to work with you. And here's like my, my course, whatever you offer.
Right. Oh, and by the way, my t-shirt, my Simplero t-shirt finally arrived today. Yay!
All right.
Wonderful. It's soft, really nice soft cotton with a beautiful V-neck. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we love those. Thanks. I'm so glad to hear that. All right. Yeah. So that's how you do that. And you can, like, if there's multiple steps, right, you can take people through that process. You can do a 20-minute long video on Facebook where you talk about this, and you can run that as an ad and just educating newborn mothers on the pain of children not sleeping, and why massage is the way to solve it.
Excellent. Yeah, it would be more like the very first step for that diagram that you had, stage 1, that really first to the market really is
right.
Where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I would think it's a unique mechanism stage. I think probably because like or baby massage. I don't know how unique. I don't know how many others are offering that, but I'm sure there are other people offering solutions to children that won't sleep, right? But massage is your. So what you want to do there is talk about how massage is the way to do it because it doesn't have the side effects and it doesn't cost you anything. And like, I don't know what other mechanisms people are using out there, but I'm sure you know.
Yeah, they do medicine and they do also,
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, you don't want that.
No. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. All right.
All right, Calvin, I think that's it for questions. Do you have any last advice you want to leave everyone with?
No, I think that's good. Thanks, guys, for showing up once again. And next week, let me see, what are we going to talk about? Next week, we're going to get into talking about your offer. So what it is we're selling and how we construct that so that it becomes really freaking awesome. So that will be next week. Should be a fun, well, it won't be next week actually, because I'm traveling next week, but it'll be the week after that. So that is the plan. Thank you guys. Fun as always. See you soon.